What's up, everybody? Mike here. I'm going to talk about the teaser image that I posted at 2 p.m. Obviously, my partners, my good friends at Lexus, sent me an image and said, hey, you can tease this, we can speculate about it. And that's what I did, and that's what we're going to do here if you're following me on my channel. I do have the 2021 IS 350 F Sport DHP. And if you don't know what image I'm talking about, I'm going to show you right now. And you might even notice I have this special edition Lexus IS hat that debuted at Lexus of Pembroke Pines when I debuted the blue one. All right, let me go to this image if you haven't seen it. Here it is. So this is the teaser image that was posted at 2 p.m. I posted it. Shout out to my guys at the Lexus Enthusiasts, Kevin and Mike and the whole crew there. They released it, and they have a whole bunch of speculation if you go to their website on what they think it is. Obviously, immediately IS 500 has come up because of the trademark. And on my end, I'm also thinking a high-powered SUV as well, because I've definitely heard some things about that happening, and obviously SUVs are where it's at right now. So here we go. Now, if you look at this image, it definitely looks similar to past engine covers from V-8 models, is what I'm speculating. And that's what that looks like. Obviously, the big carbon fiber definitely leads me to believe it's something, truly powerful. Here is again, fully loaded IS 350 DHP. You hear DHP a lot from me. Dynamic handling pack. You might notice the hood's already popped. So I said, hey, let's speculate a little closer. I'm gonna pop the hood, and if you haven't seen it before, aluminum hood, by the way, super light. Here is the engine to the IS 350 F Sport. And I'm taking you here because I figured, well, let's look around. Is there room? I think so. You can see, definitely up front. Definitely can move a lot of this plastic around. It's not stuffed to capacity. So I definitely think that's strong. That's something that we can definitely speculate on, that maybe a more powerful IS is coming. And if you all know about the history of the IS, we can talk about IS F that debuted, obviously, 2008, the first F model officially from Lexus. And it was all about stuffing a big V8 into the smallest Lexus at the time. Now, that was done actually before. For those that are real OG heads, you might remember that bright red, and I believe Rod Millen did it, and it was a IS 430. So there was a couple that actually went on. It was an IS 430, and then I remember the IS 400 from TTE, Toyota, Team Toyota Europe, I believe it's called, TTE. So they had something, and then here in the States, they did it in the original IS 300. They call it the IS 430, putting that 4.3 liter V8. So that actually predated the IS F. Well, the IS F, as we know, was an 08 to 14 model, has really grown in stature over the years because it's such a hard mix to find. It's rear-wheel drive, it's a smaller, compact car, and, it's from Japan. You can find it, obviously, from the Germans and the Americans. Well, the CTS is definitely growing in size, CTS-V, rather. But Lexus, is it coming? The IS 500. Let me show you the engine cover again. You can see the carbon fiber, right? And an F Sport badge, but there's none here, even though this is an F Sport. So that's just something to think about in addition. So yeah, I'm excited. Obviously, anything F Sport, F, I'm excited about. Hopefully it comes sooner than later. Not entirely sure. That's just a great picture. I don't know. I'm just getting really tickled by this whole iPad with the engine cover look. I'm going to shut this down. Let me close this hood. Again, I think there's room for something. If you didn't watch my previous review, I took this car to the mountains a couple weeks ago at this point, or was it last weekend? Phenomenal. This is a car that loves to be pushed. That's where you really discover the talents of the IS. And for those that follow me, you know my wife has an ES F Sport that we've now modified with the 80V1 wheels and the RSR springs and the Tom's Racing kit. It doesn't want to be pushed. I'll be completely honest. I've added it, I lowered it. It just doesn't want to be pushed. It kind of wants to cruise around town, look pretty. I get it. I'm with that. I'm not asking it to do anything more than that. The IS is different. Around town, it's like it's cool. But when you really take it to some twisties or the mountains and even a nice freeway expansion ramp and you push it down, that's where this car comes alive. Now, of course, will it be great if it's a little faster? Absolutely. A lot faster? Absolutely. The chassis and this car can definitely handle it. Notice the DHP already has a staggered setup. So these are, I believe, 235s up front, 235, whatever, 4019. These are 265s in the back. 265, 35, 19. Let me remind you, that's the same or very similar setup to the GS F Sport that debuted in 2013. So even though it's a smaller car, it has pretty much the same width and staggered setup of the OGS F Sport. And hey, I think looking at the gap in the space, now you all know that if you follow me, I built the blue one. It's now the pace car for Lexus Racing USA. Those 20-inch 80V1s filled out perfectly, 20 by 9, 20 by 10.5, staggered. And there's still a little more room. I haven't played with it as much as I would like to because the car is obviously on the circuit. But I felt immediately, I was like, wow, there's a lot more room under this fender. So if you look at these hips of the IS compared to the last model in particular, definitely more room for wider wheels. So that's another giveaway that, hey, maybe more performance could come. But again, having had an LX 570, I've driven the GX quite a bit. Super popular. They sell every last one. And of course, some owners say, hey, I would love it with a little bit more power. Could an F Sport model come to those SUVs as well? Entirely plausible. Obviously, they still have that 5.0 V8s in my LC, or maybe it's a twin turbo V6. That is another thing that we're speculating about because there has been no confirmation that it's a V8. We know the LS 500 is the twin turbo V6, and maybe it's the twin turbo V6 model. I've seen that engine. Obviously, the V6. This is a V6, the turbos, it would fit perfectly fine as well. So could that twin turbo V6 go into the trucks as well? It could. It provides low end torque, 416 horsepower in the LS 500. That's more than either GX or LX makes. Could be that. We don't know. This car is beautiful, and I was allowed to tease that image, which means that I am certain more teasers are coming, probably sooner than later. Knowing Lexus, they wouldn't tease something now and make us wait